Chakaramana sir.
Sir,
I welcome Chakaramana sir for welcome speech for the second day.
shall I continue, sir, today?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Or any alternative is there, sir?
No, you continue.
Soman sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening, good evening. Good evening, all.
Right. Hello, sir. Chakaramana sir.
Yes, sir. Tell me,
Did
sir.
you complete your welcome speech? I didn't hear.
Yeah, I can, sir. I can do that.
Okay.
Our national president is going to join or not, sir, today?
No. Today is not. Today we have no much formalities because
Okay.
we want class.
Okay.
Sanjeev Rao sir will address after your welcome speech. కనబడుతుంది బాగోలేదు.
Sir, unable to hear.
Right now start, sir. Right now start.
Sir, good evening to all of you.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Very good evening.
Welcome to the Zoom meeting, today's seminar, sir.
Good evening, sir. I'm here, R.D. Kakra.
Oh.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, sir. Sorry, जयराम जी की कल नहीं आ सके, कल कोई जरूरी काम से, तो हम लोग आज जरूर तो रहेंगे साथ के साथ में.
Good evening, Kakra ji.
Sir, welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Welcome.
It's
Welcome.
pleasure.
Welcome.
It's my pleasure.
Happy, sir. Happy to see you. Happy to join with us. We are very happy with that.
Thank you, brother.
Sir, actually, welcome, Ganeshan, sir. Actually, your initiation itself is commendable, and it's need of the hour also. We are very happy with this move, sir. You took very good initiative for the fraternity. Welcome to the Kakra, sir, Secretary General of AIFTP, and also other senior members, Sanjeeva Garu. And then Vijayan is there, and Fasluddin, and our speaker, Soman sir. Welcome, sir. Really very happy to be part with this program, sir. Really, it's a need of the hour for the fraternity. Really very useful to our fraternity, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for supporting us, and welcome to the all other dignitaries. Thank you, one and all. Sir, I will hand over this session to the Ganeshan sir to continue the proceedings.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for a wonderful welcome speech. I invite Mr. C. Sanjay Rao, National Executive Member, for opening remarks.
Sir, good evening to one and all.
Good evening, sir.
Welcome काकरा जी.
Thank you, sir.
जयराम जी की बहुत दिन के बाद.
जयराम जी की. Yes, sir. Mr. Sanjeev Rao. Sir.
It is a good initiative taken by Sri Ganeshan sir in conducting the classes. Yesterday class was also very nicely organized, and it has taken very nicely, and all the nuances have been covered yesterday by Mr. Solomon. And today also it will be very useful class will be conducted by Mr. C.A. Solomon. And all the members, past and present members of the All India Federation Southern Zone will be benefited by this type of today's version, today's class, and I welcome all to participate in. Thank you very much for the opportunity given to me.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I request our chief guest, today's chief guest, our Secretary General, Ramdev Kakra, for few words. Kakraji.
Unmute yourself, sir. Kakraji, unmute. Kakraji, please unmute it.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Chakra, Mr. Sanjeeva Rao, and all the participants. It's undoubtedly a pleasure for me to listen to today's virtual get-together and conference. Undoubtedly, it's a very, yesterday it was a very useful one I have heard. So that's why listening all these things, it's must for me to join today. And it's my great pleasure, and I'm thrilled today to see all of you. Now we will listen the speaker, sir. Over to you.
Okay, sir. Thank you for all. Without wasting much time, I directly hand over the mic to our wonderful faculty, N.L. Soman, sir, Chartered Accountant, Ernakulam.
Good evening, sir. Good evening. Good evening, one and all. I hope I am audible to all.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Clear.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Nice. It's very good evening once again. And
Good evening.
yes, sir. Good evening, sir. I express my sincere thanks to all of you for joining this session, today's session, on a continuation of our discussion yesterday. I hope, and I am told also that yesterday's session was an insightful one, not because of the faculty, I should say, but the participants have taken that much interest in getting into the intricacies and complexities, and they are actually eager to have knowledge about the recent developments in the GST compliance, because this is our bread and butter. So today we will dive little more deeper into this specific topic, which is nothing but the amnesty scheme. And at the opening remark itself, I should say that this is a real amnesty scheme offered by the government of India. Yesterday also we have discussed the one part of the amnesty which is dealing with the availment of the input tax credit, and that too belatedly. Because what happened was that we were having only section 16 subsection 4 that time. And that subsection actually limited our scope in availing the input tax credit up to a certain limit of time. Beyond that limit of time, that is nothing but after 30th November following the financial year, the tax authorities take it as ineligible input tax credit. I am using that word, ineligible input tax credit, because in the eyes of the tax department or the tax authorities, it is an ineligible credit as far as the taxpayer is concerned, because he has not availed the input tax within the time. With due respect to the other court decisions and all, we have been given an opportunity to avail such sort of input tax credit, even though we took it in the GSTR 3B, which was filed a little later than the assigned time. So a new subsection was introduced into the section 16 for taking care of the belated availment of input tax credit for the past 4 years. Similarly, because of the cancellation of the registration of a taxable person having due eligible for the input tax credit as on the date of the cancellation, he was not entitled, he was not able to avail the input tax credit. For that matter also, government has offered a scheme which is brought through subsection 6 of the section 16. Now that is the subject we have discussed yesterday. Today, we will be discussing on the grand amnesty scheme, which was waited by, which are waiting for, people were waiting for that amnesty scheme. But there was a difficulty in offering this amnesty by waiving. What that amnesty is? The amnesty is in respect of waiver of interest and penalty. Waiver of interest and penalty was not envisaged in the GST Act. See, GST Act, if you look at section 128 deals with only the waiver of the late fee, that is the late filing of return. But never ever this waiver of interest and penalty was envisaged in the section, the Act. So there arose a requirement to introduce a new section for taking care of this amnesty. That is why the GST Council has forwarded this recommendation and decided this one. Actually recommended for this introduction of a new section to take care of such sort of amnesties in future also. So section 128 capital A was introduced through the Finance Act number 2 Finance Act for the waiver of interest and penalty, both relating to demands raised under 73. Now we will look into the subject through our presentation. I hope this is the background, and with this background, we will have to approach what we should do in the coming few months to take care of or to avail the benefit of that amnesty offered by the government of India. We will look into those aspects. Yes. I hope my screen is visible. Is it? I have shared one screen. It is visible also.
Visible. It is
visible. Yeah. We will move on to the provisions. And straight away, starting with that 128A, though there are other slides there, we will be doing that aspect only. Okay, so 128A, what is it after all? There are certain key provisions only we are right now discussing. This has come into force by notification 17/2024 dated 27/9/2024. Effective date is 1st November 2024. So 1st November onwards, we will have to be careful for completing this process of availment within the assigned time or specified time. So what are the key points in that? First one is the waiver of interest and penalty. Interest and penalty, which are coming through notices issued under section 73. 73, we know that this section pertaining to the demand where there is no fraud, willful misstatement, or suppression of facts. No fraud, no willful misrepresentation, no suppression of facts. So disregarding these three aspects, if the notice is coming for just recovering the amount, recovering the short paid tax or the non-paid tax or the irregularly availed, that is ineligible input tax credits. These are the things. So to recover the short paid tax or the non-paid tax or the input tax credit wrongly availed through inadvertent acts without an intention to evade the payment of tax, such sort of scenarios. So such sort of situations are covered under Section 73. And the notice, if it comes under 73, this amnesty scheme is eligible. Second item is applicable to tax period from July 2017 to March 2020. So for 17, 18, 18, 19, 19, 20, 3 years only. Whereas in the other case, it was 4 years. Now it is 3 years only, limited to 3 years. Why it is not extended further is a question of fact which is to be decided at upper level. Because what I feel or what we feel is that since the time period for issuing the notice still there for the subsequent years, probably, even though there are some discrepancies, there are a lot of discrepancies, not some, lot of discrepancies during the year 2021 and 21-22 because of the COVID period. A lot of mistakes would have taken place in the tax payment as well as the compliance part. So in my view, or rather in view of all of us, for that 2 periods also we should get some sort of an amnesty, but probably because of the time available for issuing show cause notice, this may not be in, is not included right now in 128A. So 128 section is still there. It can be used for future also. Let us hope for the best. Then third point is, for availing that input tax credit, there should be tax payment to the full extent as per the notice or the order. As per the notice or the order, the tax required therein, demanded therein, shall be paid for availing the input tax credit under, as for availing the benefit or waiver of the interest and penalty. Then full tax demanded to be paid before the notified date also. Notified date means 31st March 2025. So before 31st March 2025, we have to pay off the tax to avail that benefit. Then demands pertaining to recovery of erroneous refunds not eligible. So normally the recovery may be upon non-payment of tax, short payment of tax, ineligible input tax credit availment, erroneous availment of input tax credit, and sometimes it may be to recover the erroneously refunded tax to the taxpayer. This aspect, this erroneous refund is not covered in the amnesty scheme. Similarly, no refund of interest and penalty already paid will be there. We have seen in the last session also that if interest and penalty has already been paid along with the tax, that interest and penalty will not be refunded to the taxpayer, to the faithful taxpayer who wanted to be an obedient taxpayer, an obedient citizen of India. He would have paid the interest and penalty also. Sometimes it may go into substantial amount. So it will not be refunded to him as part of this amnesty scheme. Then, as a condition for availing that input tax credit, whatever the appeals filed subsequent to the order agitating the order should be withdrawn before filing the appeal. So that before filing the amnesty application. So all the appeals at whatever stage, first appeal level, second appeal we were not able to do, but if we have gone into high courts and Supreme Courts, then all those appeals should be withdrawn for filing the amnesty application. So no further appeal once proceedings are also closed. The impact is that after we apply for that amnesty scheme, they will accept, the department will accept it, the proper officer will accept. If it is acceptable to them, they will issue an order, close the subject once for all. No appeal further is permitted. Okay, and the last point is, the procedure and closure are incorporated or prescribed through specified rule, which is also introduced of late for the exclusive purpose of giving this amnesty scheme. That is rule number 164. That is the latest rule. So based on these aspects, we have to, considering the rules, the rules prescribed there in 164 and the circular issued in this regard, we will have to look into these aspects. What is the nature of the demand? normally the tax demanded is output tax not collected but demanded. We would not have collected the tax, but it is demanded because of the reasons specified in the notice, or it will become a demand from the department side. We would not have collected inadvertently, or rather we thought that this is not a taxable item, then we would not have collected the tax, but it should be paid out of our pocket. Then that is the demand, the subject matter for the show cause notice. Second is output tax collected but not paid. That's a crime. Output tax collected should not be kept with the taxpayer. He has to pay it back. But somehow, unknowingly, he would have kept it back. So that is also a reason for the issue of the show cause notice. Third item is tax demanded under the reverse charge mechanism. So yesterday we have seen only 1 or 2 items in the reverse charge mechanism covering under section 9.3. 9.4 we have not touched upon also yesterday. 9.4 is the specific reverse charge item which is applicable when a registered person procures goods or services from an unregistered person, and that too defined notified goods or services. Notified goods or services. So there should be a specific notification for 9.4. And so far only one item has come into that picture, or that into that aspect. That is the developer who is engaged in the real estate development projects, REP, RREP projects. They are from 1st April 2019 onwards, they are entitled for a concessional rate of tax. They are not paying the higher rate of tax of 18% or 12% as the case may be. They are given an option to have the concession rate of tax and subject to certain conditions also. So that group, if they procures the material required for the project work, they have to procure it from the registered persons only, and they are allowed a certain percentage. That is the maximum 20% only they can procure from unregistered persons. So that 80-20% is there. 80% they have to procure goods and services excluding certain 1 or 2 items. Then they have to keep all the procurements of the capital goods from registered persons only. And if they procure the material from an unregistered person beyond the limit prescribed there, then they have to pay tax on, the developer shall pay the tax, not the supplier. The developer shall pay the tax on that excess item. And cement has been notified there, irrespective of the percentage. So cement procured for the real estate work by the developer, REP, RREP project schemes, he has to procure it from the registered person only. That item only is notified in 9.4. So that is the reverse charge mechanism item coming under 9.4. 9.3 is very clear. So many items are there. So the importance is that these taxes shall be paid out of cash only. So from the cash ledger only, we can pay the reverse charge mechanism item. We cannot pay it out of input tax credit. If there are any disputes relating to this payment of reverse charge mechanism items, then the tax demanded will be through 73, and that can be a cause for this amnesty scheme if it is coming through 73. Fourth item is tax demanded from the e-commerce operator under 9.5. So if we look at this, these provisions, so reverse charge items, all these reverse charge items are covered here. That is section 9.3, 9.4, and 9.5. Okay. Then tax deducted at source under section 51 TDS. If there is a dispute under 73, then that can also be settled through this. Similarly, 52, section 52, that is a TCS, tax collected at source. That can also be disputed. Will be disputed or would have been disputed through 73 notice. Then that can be covered. Demand on account of input tax credit, all the demands on account of input tax credit can be settled. But the last point is very important. Demand on account of recovery of erroneous refund. Taxpayer would have got refund erroneously from the department or any rebate from the department. Later on, it was found that it was not eligible for he was not eligible for the refund. Then it should be recovered. Normally, he would have received a 73 or 74 notice or whatever it may be. Even if it is under 73, that item is not eligible for the amnesty scheme. So these are the demands usually come under this category. Okay, we will proceed further. Now, what does this section say? Number of items are there, that is, or 4 or 5 subsections are there. Okay, we will not go into item or line item wise in that. First section itself has 3 provisos. Then other subsections are there. We will have a bird's eye view of the content of those sections. Then we will come back if it required. So subsection 4, all proceedings will be closed. That is, there are 4 subsections with 3 or 4 provisos. Now, what all are the other documents related to this? First one is the notification number 20/2024 issued on 8th October 2024, inserting rule number 164. So the prescribed procedures and forms are there in rule number 164. Based on that forms and the procedures, terms and conditions, we have to apply for this amnesty scheme. So notification number 20 brought in rule 164. Similarly, notification number 21 of this month, that is October, notified date for payment of the tax. The tax covered, the tax element included in that notice should be paid before the notified date. That notified date is 31st March 2025. So what we have to do first is that we will have to make payment of the tax as per the, or which is demanded through the notice. And after that only we are entitled to file that application for amnesty scheme. Third document, which is inevitable for our requirement, is Circular 238. Yesterday, we have discussed with the circular number 237 for the input tax credit availment. Now, specifically, 238 gives the clarification for the explanations and clarifications for against all the doubts raised by the trade and the taxpayers. So all these clarifications are there in Circular 238. So these are the documents which we should be going through. These are the documents we should take care. Whenever we have any doubt in that, we should look into 128A section. Read with rule number 164, all those provisions are there. Elaborately, they have discussed these procedures in rule number 164. And if at all there are some clarifications needed, those are there in circular number 238. So these are the documents which we should take care of for that purpose. The period applicable, once again, 1st July 2017 to 31st March 2020 only, that is 3 years only. Subsection 1 says, the summary of subsection 1 of section 128A, just noting down that the content of that subsection. It says that if the notice is issued under section 73(1), subsection 1, 73(1), and where no order under 73(9) has been issued, one scenario. If the first one, that is subsection 1 clause A, applies to you, we have to, what we have to do? Second, that is we have received the notice only, no order is not at passed by the authority, or we have not received any order. No order under that section has been issued, may not have been passed so far. It is under the notice stage only, that is under the processing stage of the order only. Second is order passed under 73(9) and no order under 107 has been passed. That means order passed and we would have appealed against that order. That order is with the appellate commissioner. That is second scenario. Third scenario specified in subsection 1 is that order under 107 also would have passed. And next step always is go for tribunal. The tribunal, since it is not constituted, we are keeping that order with us, or we have been doing something, some workarounds there as prescribed by the state government, giving something. Anyway, ultimately, no order has been issued under that section 113. These are the scenarios covered therein. If these are the scenarios, what we should do? The person, the taxable person, the person shall pay the tax in full, whatever covered under this notice or whatever crystallized after the notice, but within the order. They would have received or got some exemptions or some reductions in the notice value or the notice order. Order value will be, or the order due, amount due as per the order will be something less than the notice, probably sometimes. Whatever be the situation, we have to pay the tax in full as covered in the notice or the order or the appellate order. Pay the tax in full. Then no interest or penalty will apply and all related proceedings will be considered as concluded. This is the substance of subsection 1. There are certain other provisos. Okay. So order under 107 is nothing but the appellate authority, first appellate authority order. Order under 113 is by the appellate tribunal. We all know that has not happened so far. Second point is that there are certain provisos in the subsection. What does that proviso mean, or what is the content of that proviso? Each one we will look into. First item is that we have received, the taxpayer has received a notice under section 74 invoking evasion of tax with intention. So 74 is for that fraud, willful misrepresentation or suppression of fact. Either of these aspects will be covered under section 74. We would have received a notice, and this is a common phenomena in almost all the notice, almost all the places. In order to buy time by the department, even if they know very clearly that the subject matter is one coming under 73, because of the lapse of time, they may be invoking section 74 erroneously, but not erroneously on their part, erroneously saying that this is covered, but it is our requirement to convert that 74 into 73, because courts never agree that 74 can be invoked without an intentional intention behind the payment of tax. Intention to evade payment of tax. Court will not agree. Ultimately, as a first stage, they would have issued the notice under 74. And we cannot question that notice affront. We can only go for appeal. We can also only go for adjudication. Even if this is confirmed in the adjudication level, we will go at the appeal level, and at appellate level also, we will plea for converting that order into a 73 one. And if the commissioner appeals, agrees for that and finds that there is substance in our argument, normally he will convert that matter into section 73 as per section 70. He is authorized, or he has got an authority to convert that subject matter into 73 as per section 75 subsection 2. 75 subsection 2 empowers the appellate authority to convert the subject matter from 74 to 73. Now what happens? We have received notice under 73, but ultimately the commission appeals has converted that 74 into 73. Are we eligible to get the benefit of amnesty scheme under 128A? Yes. So proviso says that notwithstanding anything contained in subsection 1, or even if we have received a section 74 notice, ultimately if it is converted into 73 at this stage, then we can opt for the amnesty scheme. That is the content of proviso 1. Proviso number 2 is that once the appeal is filed by the department, aggrieved by the original order, original order may be in our favor, in the taxpayer's favor. Department went for revision of that order, they would have, as per the direction of the higher authority, the lower officer, the lower authority would have gone for appeal against the favorable order of the taxpayer or order to the taxpayer. And at appeal stage also, something happened. Instead of converting or instead of giving relief to the taxpayer, if unfortunately happens that an additional tax is payable by the taxpayer as a result of this appellate order, can we get this benefit? Yes, still we can get this benefit. Only thing is that we have to pay the additional tax within 3 months. So whatever is the original order, there was absolutely in our favor. Second appeal, that is appeal order level, first, not second appeal, second stage, it went against us. That is, some additional tax has been demanded. If that is the situation, still we can go for appeal, this amnesty scheme, provided we pay the additional tax within 3 months. Third proviso, only 3 provisos are there. That is relating to interest and penalty already paid by the taxpayer. Very clearly they say that if any person has faithfully paid the penalty and interest as a responsible citizen against a notice which was issued under 73 even, without going for any litigation, if he has wanted to close that subject matter by paying the interest and penalty, in most of the cases the interest and penalty was also forcefully collected. Somehow he has paid. That amount is not refundable to him. These are the subjects or the details of the 3 provisos contained in the subsection 1. I hope it is clear. So subsection 1, it has got certain conditions, and that condition is attributed with certain provisos. That 3 are there, and these are the contents of the provisos. Now we'll go to the rest of this. Nothing contained in subsection 1 of section 128 applies to erroneous refund. That is also made clear, subsection 2. In subsection 2 of section 128A, this is made clear that erroneous refund, no chance. You need not come to us. Erroneous refund has to be paid back with the due interest and penalty if it is there, not available. Then, once again, reiterating the provisions that benefit under 128A is available only if notice is issued under 73, and that too in respect of tax liability not paid, tax liability short paid, and excess input tax credit availed. No erroneous refund. Okay. So going to subsection 3, subject matter. That is, for eligibility to avail the benefit under 128A, very important. What we should do first, withdraw all the pending appeals and writ petitions prior to the initial step itself. Make the payment, but we cannot file the application as prescribed in the rule. So subsection 3 is that. So subsection 1, subsection 1 provisos. Then subsection 2, erroneous refund is not applicable. Interest, etc. You will not get it. Then 128.3, subsection 3, pending appeals shall be withdrawn and an order shall be submitted, withdrawal order. Now we will look into the procedural aspects. Rule 164. So we have covered that 128 subsections. There are only 4 subsections in 128. After that, we need to go to the procedure which are prescribed under Rule 164. There it says, file an application electronically. Amnesty is available only if we act upon it. Formally, we have to file an application electronically in the portal, not manually. Give an application in the portal electronically. We call it as electronically. That application shall be either in form GST SPL 101 or 02. Earmarked application forms are there, one for the notice stage and the other for the orders, either first adjudication order or the second, that we will come to later on. So SPL 01 and 02 are the required forms. Fill up those forms, upload that forms in the required portal, place where it is mentioned, with the details of payment effected. So the precondition is that we have to make payment of the tax demanded. Without that, we cannot file an application, except a certain one or two few cases. So along with this application, that is the application SPL 01 or SPL 02 as the case may be, with the details of payment effected either in DRC 03 or through reduction of the liability from through the system, plus one of the requirements we have earlier seen that all the appellate level applications shall be withdrawn. So plus document evidencing withdrawal of the appeal. That is the order for withdrawal from the concerned authority. The concerned authority, we have to apply to the concerned authority for a withdrawal. The concerned authority, either sometimes he may or they may hear us. At the earliest, we have to get that order of withdrawal. If it is at High Court level or Supreme Court level, the due procedure shall be followed. Along with this document, withdrawal order, we have to apply to the electronically to the proper officer. So it will be going, the application will be going to the proper officer. Without our understanding, it will go at the background. The officer who is assigned with that application or entrusted with that application, he will verify those application, and ultimately, if he finds that there is subject is eligible for amnesty, if the officer is satisfied, the word used is satisfied. If the officer is satisfied, then he will issue an order after the due process. He will issue an order, verifications, etc., whatever possible verifications required, he will issue that order. That order shall be in form SPL 05. SPL 05, concluding. The order will say that this amnesty scheme, that is the interest and penalty, are waived, and there is no further proceedings under this category, against this, or as a subsequent to this notice. That is the substance of this rule. That is the particular procedure rule. But what happens if the officer is not satisfied? We'll come to that. If at the time of application, the order for withdrawal from concerned authority is also pending, so we cannot ensure that all the documents are submitted along with the application form. So we know very well that for getting the withdrawal order from the concerned higher authorities, it may take some time. By the time, we may be losing the time here for applying the amnesty scheme. So in order to take care of that, there is a way forward. That is, if at the time of applying, that taxpayer is not having the withdrawal order with him, what he can do is apply with the evidence of application. Whatever evidence he is having, he will submit the request for withdrawal of the application along with the SPL. That is, he would have applied and he can show that this is my application to the appellate authority for withdrawing the order. And later on, when we get that order from the appellate authority, we have to file that order separately within 1 month of the order. Because by the time the time limits would have gone or elapsed, then we are getting 1 month time for re-uploading the order. Application already uploaded, it will be kept pending there, and only after we file that or upload that order, that will be processed. Now, the other scenario which we wanted to discuss is, if the proper officer finds that the application is ineligible, the taxpayer is not eligible for this one amnesty scheme under 128A, what he will do? He will issue a notice in specified format, form GST, SPL 03. So many forms we are coming across. SPL 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, etc. forms are there for various purposes. We should be conversant with those forms also. The proper officer will issue a notice in SPL 03. Applicant is expected to reply that notice in SPL 04, just like we get DRC 01A, B, part 1, part B, etc. We have to reply to that notice, SPL 03 notice in SPL 04, it's only within 1 month. The due date is also there. Period is also 1 month time we will get for replying. But if the proper officer is satisfied with the reply, the first stage is that he was not very much happy with that application. So he has got some doubts. He wanted to clear those doubts. Whatever clarifications needed, what was passed to the taxpayer through the notice issued under SPL 03. We have replied properly to the notice in SPL 04, and now the officer is satisfied with the reply. Again, he has to do the normal thing. What is that? Issue acceptance order within 3 months. So time limit is also there. Prescribed time limit is there. And this time, there will not be any. So far, there was no authority to enhance the time limit for the officers to issue the order. Without such exemptions, or rather extensions of time, they have to complete this process within 3 months. And that order shall be in SPL 05. Liability in electronic liability register shall be modified. We know people, we are all conversant with the system. So there will be an electronic liability register. Into that electronic liability register, all those demands other than that normal taxes will be created through by the proper officer when he issues that adjudication order. Against that adjudication order, against that liability created there, if we want to make that payment, we have to do that way only. Should not go for DRC 03 payment out of the system. We are supposed to reduce that register liability. There, after issuing the SPL 05 order, the officer also will automatically, he will reduce that liability in the electronic liability. There will not be any liability hereafter after giving that notice. Proper officer, that is action if the proper officer is satisfied with the reply. There is also a chance that the proper officer may not be satisfied with our reply. Even if we write pages and pages, he will not be satisfied sometimes. In that situation, he will issue a rejection order. That also shall be done within 3 months. Now the form specified for issuing the rejection order is SPL 07. We have come across SPL 01 and 2, that is the application forms. SPL 03, the officer to issue a notice. SPL 04, the taxpayer to reply to the notice. SPL 05 is the order issued by the proper officer who is actually verifying the application. And SPL 07 is the rejection. SPL 06 we have not come across up to this time. So if the officer is not satisfied with the reply, he will issue a rejection order within 3 months in form SPL 07. Right. Now coming to there is a chance that within 3 months, if the order is not coming up from the proper officer, then it is a case of deemed approval. So we need to wait for 3 months only after filing this application, proper in all respects, with all contents. Within 3 months, the order shall be passed. If it is not there, we can take it as granted that our application has been approved. In that situation, if SPL 05, SPL 7, as the case may be, not issued within 3 months, same situation applies to SPL 07 also. Rejection order also. This is the situation. If an approving order is received within 3 months, it's okay. If it is not received, we can say that it is approved. Same similar as if the rejection order also he shall issue within 3 months. Okay. If no reply is submitted by the taxpayer against the notice in SPL 03, people as usual may forget to reply to the notices which are coming in the portal. So we should be very cautious. We should be verifying the portal day by day, see whether any notices have come there. Without our notice, without our attention, it should not go unnoticed. So SPL 03 is the notice. If the taxpayer is not replying to the SPL 03, proper officer, PO means proper officer can issue order within 4 months. 1 more month he will wait. 4 months from the date of SPL 03. So the maximum time SPL 03 is issued, no order has been passed, no reply has been received by him. He has to pass the order within 4 months from the date of SPL 03. What are the consequences of rejection of the order? These are also mentioned in the rule. Rejection of the order. Rejection order, we know that it is coming through SPL 07. If no appeal is filed against the rejection order in form SPL 07, what is the rejection order? That is, they are not accepting our contention or accepting our reply to the notice, or they are not satisfied with whatever we say, then everything has to be reinstated to us. That is, after issuing that rejection order, automatically that original appeal will be restored. Whatever we have withdrawn will be restored. We can again contest with that appeal at subsequent levels. So rejection order doesn't mean that it is end of all. We will get back an opportunity to reinstate the original appeal which was withdrawn, and that will be restored. That is all about that rejection order. Then if appeal is filed against a rejection order, here that is SPL 07, that is also there. SPL 07, that is a rejection order. We cannot file any appeal against the SPL 05, but SPL 07 is a rejection order. If an appeal is filed against a rejection order, appellate authority shall pass an order in form SPL 06. Now comes the SPL 06. There was a gap. SPL 06 accepting the application. Yep. If the proper officer has wrongly rejected the request. Yes. So we are given some justice, natural justice. We have received that rejection order, but we found that the proper officer has not taken care of our contentions in the proper perspective. Proper officer has to take care in the proper perspective. But if he has not done that, we are also agitated. So we can apply to the appellate authority. Appellate authority re-examines it, and if he is satisfied that proper officer has not acted it properly, then he will issue SPL 06 accepting the application. So a second layer is there, accepting the application. But what happens if the proper officer or the appellate authority finds that the proper officer has rightly rejected it? It should have been rejected double or twice. Had I been there as a proper officer, then I would have rejected it afresh. Such sort of an action or some mentality was there with the appellate authority. Then the original appeal will be restored. That means absolutely rejected. That is, rejection is confirmed by the appellate authority. Then also original order will be restored. And if the taxpayer files an undertaking in SPL 08, so we are coming up to number 8, SPL 08 within 3 months or 3 months of APL 04. Okay. So original appeal will be restored. It is again, we can contest the original appeal. So these are the forms. 1, 2, 3 is the show cause notice for clarification, seeking clarification. 4 is the reply. 5 is the order. 7 is the rejection order. 6 is the order, which is equivalent to 5. Again, accepting that. If it is not, then he will reject the order. These are the main parameters in the rule number 164. Apart from these contents or the rules, there are other clarifications. So the government is of view that it should be given meticulously. That is, the people are permitted or people are availing the amnesty scheme to the maximum. Then whatever clarifications that are possible or whatever queries that are possible are also addressed through this clarificatory circular, that is 238. Let us look into those items. Normal doubts that can arise in the minds of the taxable person, taxpayer. These are the normal doubts. What is that? Is the benefit available if the tax paid in full before the section took effect? 128 came into through the Amendment Act, that is the number 2 Finance Act, 128A. Before that, we would have paid the tax. Can we avail the benefit of waiver of the interest and penalty, because this amnesty came after the payment of the tax? Yes, that can be, without doubt. They are granting us that facility. The tax amount would have been paid long back, but we have been agitating for the interest and the penalty. Then that will be covered, even though 128A came into recently. Second point clarified is, can the amounts recovered from another person on behalf of the taxable person be considered as tax paid? The taxpayer the taxpayer has to or is due for payment of tax, would have been recovered from bank account or somewhere else, or some attachments would have taken place. Whether that recovery will be considered as payment in this section. Third clarity is in this regard that am I audible? Any issue with regard to my net connection and all? I'm
Now,
clear.
okay, sir. Now, clear.
Because I got a message that
Okay.
this one is net is not stable. Okay. So can the interest or the penalty recovered as interest and penalty be adjusted against the tax payable for the same demands? What would be your answer then? Naturally, no. Because interest and penalty paid in earlier case cannot be adjusted against the tax due as per the or for the purpose of availing the benefit under 128A. Interest and penalty cannot be deemed as tax. Okay. Next point is whether the benefit available if the tax has already been paid and not completed, and the notice under 73 pertains only to interest or penalty. Such a situation also is possible, because we come across situations where for demanding interest and penalty, normally department could have recovered the tax, recovered the interest and penalty without even a notice. Under section 79, recovery proceedings could have been initiated without a notice under 73. But certain offices or certain notices contain recovery of interest and penalty without a tax demand. Whether that will be covered in this? Yes, still. That also is, if it is pertaining to the tax demand, instead of recovering it through another, because the person would have paid the tax fully. Interest and penalty, if it is there, they could have recovered it. They issued a show cause notice under 73. Can that be covered or than by included in this 128A. Yes. However, interest are of different types. Interest due to delayed filing of a return may not be available. That is not an interest in the normal situation. So the payment of tax is because of the delayed filing of the return. Apart from the late fee, interest is also payable on the cash basis, on the cash payment. Input tax credit, okay, that is it's a different issue. So even if the notice is covering only interest and penalty, that will also be covered. That can also be used for amnesty scheme. Next is matters where SLP, specially petition, filed by the applicant is pending before the Supreme Court, Apex Court. That is also possible to be covered in this category. Only thing is that withdraw the SLP from Supreme Court. So if it takes some time or more time in getting back the SLP withdrawn from Supreme Court, within the due date of applying for the amnesty scheme as specified in the rule, we can apply for the amnesty scheme and through the specified formats, attach our application to Supreme Court for the withdrawal of the SLP. After getting the SLP order, withdrawal order, we have to upload that SLP order or withdrawal order within 1 month. That is a procedure. So there is no harm in going for applying the amnesty scheme under this situation. Next one is whether the benefit will be available for matters involving IGST and compensation cess. IGST and compensation cess are also part of the GST taxes. So no issue. IGST is part of common, just like CGST and SGST, IGST component and the compensation cess are also covered in that. So whatever they are giving us, even though it appears to be a insignificant query, they have, the department has, or the government is intending to clarify that also, so as to make a speedy conclusion of the procedure at the earliest. Other thing is demands for irregularly availed transitional credit. Number of cases are there. Whether transitional credit is covered in this scheme? Yes, that is also covered. That can be cleared through this amnesty scheme, transitional credit, provided pay the tax demanded, the penalty and interest will be waived off. If so, what is the fate of the late fee and redemption fine, etc.? Late fee. Under section 47, late fee will be charged for delayed filing of the returns. So many returns, that GSTR 1, 3B, annual return, TDS returns, etc. Late fee at specific rates and amounts per day will be applicable. And unfortunately, for the annual return, the maximum limit is not at a fixed amount. It goes along with the annual, this aggregated turnover. It can go up to 0.5% of the turnover, total turnover. So that sort of a late fee is very vulnerable. Whether that will be covered under this scheme? No. Late fee will not be covered. The penalties which are covered under the scheme are only under section 73, 122, 125 general penalty. 122 specific penalties, 73, 122 and 125 penalties only are covered. Late fee and redemption fine are not there in these sections. These are not covered so far. Late fee and redemption fine. Okay, then can payment to avail the benefit be made by utilizing ITC? Can be a regular question. Yes. ITC can be utilized for setting off or paying off the demand, tax demand. One thing is to be noted that, as we all know, reverse charge mechanism liability is to be settled through cash ledger. So if the notice covers reverse charge mechanism item and the tax payable is, tax due is in respect of an RCM under 93, 94 or 95, 93, 94 or 95, then that should be remitted in cash. Similarly, some situation may come that along with the notice, 3 or 4 points are there, and one more point is with regard to an erroneous refund. Notice would have come clubbing together different situations, so different parameters. One of the situations is, or one of the issues covered in the notice is an erroneous refund. Along with that, so many other issues are there. If that is a situation, we will not be losing the chance of amnesty. Only thing is that whatever is pertaining to the erroneous refund shall be paid off. Erroneous refund shall be paid off along with the interest and penalty. So the erroneous refund, the interest and penalty relating to erroneous refund will not be covered under the amnesty. And nothing pertaining to erroneous refund will be covered in this amnesty scheme. Neither the erroneous refund tax or the interest relating to that refund, erroneous refund, or any penalty charged against that erroneous refund. These things are not covered in the amnesty scheme. The balance items, balance issues, if it is relating to RCM liability, pay off the cash through the cash ledger, balance can be settled through input tax credit available with the taxpayer. Okay. Where the demand involves amount pertaining to violation of section 16(4), a regular question that can be asked by many people. Show cause notice contains one of the items as 16(4), that is in the availment of erroneous availment of input tax credit, time barred availment of input tax credit. Along with that, there may be some other issues. So major part may be 16(4) case. And issues covered in a notice comprises of input tax credit availment belatedly under 16(4) and some other issues. Now we know that 16(5) and 16(6) has been introduced. By virtue of those subsections, we are relieved from the mistakes or the mistake of or commitment of the extra availment of input tax credit. What we have to do is we have to first rectify those things, that we have to free off that 16(4) cases from the group. Then the balance will be considered for amnesty. So 16(4) will be what we will do. It is an automatic process. We will apply for that. And in the application, we will mention that this is the amount also is mentioned, will be mentioned there. The proper officer will recompute those things and the balance amount will be covered in that application. So that can be settled even if the show cause notice contains different issues, one of which is section 16(4). Still, we need not pay that full amount against that 16(4). We will get benefit of reduction from that tax payable. Will be recalculated. The tax payable will be recalculated after deducting the amounts under section 16(5) and 16(6). We have to show a breakup in the SPL 01 and 02 respectively. There are provisions there. So the officer will accept. He will, containing these items, we will apply for the amnesty scheme. While verification, he will earmark those items and give a reduction. Find out whether we have remitted the tax pertaining to other issues, then he will accept that. If he has got any clarification needed, he will issue SPL 03 notice. We have to properly respond to that SPL 03 notice through SPL 04 reply. Then that is over.
Can you repeat this clause once again? Like let assume that 128A basis 73, there is one order is being issued, means as usually ASMT 10 once authority is issuing under any circumstances, that might be include section 64 or any other demand pertaining to ITC issues or some other issues. Let assume that I am ready to make the payment for on basis of 128, but at the same time in the order, there is a different paragraphs is there, which the demand is raised by the authority. Let's assume that there is a section 16.4 issue is there, in other issues is also there. In this scenario, if I am going to withdraw the appeal for the purpose of this clause, I need to lose the other things where I have a justice, nature of justice. What I have to do?
Sir, you are not withdrawing the appeal. What your case is at the appellate level, and the points contained there in that order pertains to other issues which can be settled through this amnesty scheme. And it also, one item is also there, which is nothing but the erroneous availment of input tax credit under 16.4, because belated availment of input tax credit. So we have to get the benefit of that 16.4 because of the introduction of 16.5 section amnesty, when amnesty relating to that, we have to get back that. So what we have to do is, suppose you have 10,000 rupees total amount, out of that 8,000 rupees is the 16.4 demand. 2,000 only is for other 2-3 minor issues. Against that 10,000 rupees, we have an interest demand of almost 10,000 and a demand of penalty to the extent of 10,000. So 30,000 rupees is our total order value. We have filed an appeal with the appellate commissioner. Now the appellate commissioner, at this stage, this amnesty scheme is coming and we are applying for this amnesty scheme. This particular order, out of that 10,000 rupees, we will get a reduction of 8,000 rupees towards the 16.4 case, because 16.5 is already there now. Right now, 16.5, that benefit is there. We need to, if it is availed belatedly, it is rash. It is actually, it is now, it is considered as availed within the due time. So that benefit, after that setting of element, we need to pay only 2,000 rupees as tax, which is pertaining to the other issues. Then we will be relieved of from the 10,000 interest and the 10,000 penalty. Is that the query? Is that the answer you needed, or is
Yeah,
that
actually, like section 16.2c basis, there is a lot of disputes is going on. You may aware about that. That supplier is not going to make the tax payment and not filing the 3B, even it is filed in GST or 1, which is reflect in 2A also. Authority is restricting and issuing the demand for that concern, where we are very clear that at the time of this order stage, we have failed to submit the certification under 180 circular basis. So at the time of appellate stage, we were decided to submit the same certificate before the authority. Now, these three scenarios is there. One, it is section 16.4. Another, it is 128A basis this scenario. Another one, it is section 16.2C. Now, the appeal, if I am going to agree with the authority saying that my 16.4 issue will be withdrawn because I have claimed my ITC before the end of November 2021 itself, where I am eligible. At the same time, 128A also is applicable to me. That principal already I paid. Other than section 37 written basis, whatever that late fees or interest is applicable. Other than that, whatever the demand arises, I paid the demand. But I need to go for dropping my interest and the penalty is mandatory. But section 62C also involved in that order. What I have to do? That is what my question.
okay? Now you are adding, because earlier it was a case consisting of 16.4 and other issues. Now 16.2C is also stepping in. So your situation is comprising of two items related to input tax credit. One is that belated availment 16.4 and the other one is supplier not paid the tax to the government even if I have remitted the or I have given that amount 16.2C. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to get that appellate order completed, get the order relieving the 16.2C by submitting certificate under 183. So you have to get the order cleared at this stage for availing the input tax credit. If you are not withdrawing that appeal, you will not get this benefit. For withdrawing while withdrawing the appeal, you will be losing that element relating to 16.2C. Okay, because you have a certificate with you. Now, what we can do is we have to get the appeal order finalized at the earliest. You can produce that certificate, say that I have to, you ask for an early hearing, then produce his certificate, get his help, appellate authorities help, and release that order. Now your order is comprising of only 16.4 and balance items. 16.4 also he will drop off. He will drop that at this stage because he cannot finalize that 16.4. So anything related to 16.4 and 16.2 will be dropped off at this stage. Now your order will be only for that. Against that appeal order, you have to go for amnesty.
So until or unless the order is being remanded, I cannot go for withdrawing my 128A basis. I cannot go for withdrawing my appeal.
See, the first condition for applying for a 128A is that you should not have any appeal pending at any stage. So the earliest way out is because all the appeal commissioners are now asking us to give a letter to them that you are not asking for personal hearing. So they are requiring us to give a submission or rather permission that they also wanted to clear up those cases pertaining to 16.4 and 16.2C if the certificate is there. So 16.4 cases, they are asking for a request letter that we do not need an personal hearing. If we can send a letter, even they are not bothered about the authorization also. They say that you just send a mail to us so that we will finalize that and give it to you. In your case, what happened is that there is a case of 16.2C. So the officer will not give you relief until and unless you produce that certificate. The earliest thing you can do is to ask for a personal hearing at the earliest and decide and make him issue a seasoned order, that is a finalized order. Against that, we can go for that amnesty scheme. It is there. A clarification is also there. Because if you look at that 238 circular, a number of cases, I have taken all the relevant items there. I do not know whether that is also figuring in the subsequent slides. Anyway, since you have raised this query, it is up time for us to discuss on that. Thank you so much. Yes, sir. So it is after 1.5 hours, almost 1.5 hours, I am getting a relief right now. Okay, then. Thank you so much. Right.
Sir, one doubt.
Yeah.
Sir, the appeal is rejected, sir. Client filed 120 days after he is filing appeal. The appeal is rejected. The client go to High Court. How many days appeal to High Court? How many days, sir?
Though it is not related to this discussion, anyway, 3 months time is there for us to file the appeal at the appellate level. Now, for 1 more month was there, we lost that chance also. So totally 4 months time was there. Now, if we look at the other, that is section 113 or 114. Okay, let me see. There, the appellate authority, if the High Court case, 1 second, High Court case, it is 3 months for us and must be 6 months for the department. And Hariharan sir is there now, you can very well help me out. So the question is that 117, yeah. Appeal to Supreme Court, appeal to one appeal. A person aggrieved by a statement, etc., submit if dissatisfied, involved appeal within a period of 180 days. Yeah. Okay. Appeal under subsection 1 shall be filed within a period of 180 days, that is 6 months. From the date on which the order appealed against is received by the aggrieved person, and it shall be in such form and manner. That is 117(2), subsection 2. So,
Thank you.
Yeah, that's it. That is because so many dates are there. No, that is here it is 180 days, but the other case it is 3 months. So we have to conversant with all those days. Each and every time we go for these things, we have to verify the act. Verify that each and every time, even though we have some notional day, time period.
But this is a case of limitation.
Yes.
A limitation, because he has already exhausted the time limit to file the appeal under section 107. So
4 months time is over. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
117 is a appeal
To High Court.
appeal to the High Court. That is different. So the
Hmm.
High Court may decide whether it is in the time frame or not.
Normally, okay, if it is a what is far away time, normally it is 180 times from the date on which the order appealed against is received by the person. So order appealed against is received by you is probably 1 year back. So it is left to the court to accept it or not. Normally, what happens is that once we get that appellate order, then we have got 6 months time for appealing at the High Court. Otherwise, as Ganesh sir said correctly, it will be at the depending upon situations. Even if in
The natural justice,
yes. There are situations.
then it will be admitted.
There are situations where the court have accepted even those cases. Even there are situations where situations barred him from applying for there are so many situations where he must be prevented from applying to the High
Subsequent
Court.
cause.
Yeah. So many reasons are there.
Yeah,
Sir.
depending upon nature of the justice.
In
As informed by Ganesh sir. Correct.
nature of the situation. And still,
Sir,
if you can look into the limitation period during that COVID time, no, 2 years, whether that is also in your case, specific case, you can see whether that will be to your help, the 2-year time period. Okay.
Only particularly about the relaxation it has given after the ADC or appellate officer in the first stage, which is rejected. There is another option to go for a tribunal because the tribunal is not formed.
Yeah.
Even after exceeding the 6 months, also they are allowing
Yes.
with a condition stating that to make the differential tax amount to allow the appeal before the tribunal. That is only the thing is happening now.
Okay. Yeah. There are situations where the High Court is asking for 20% deposit, etc. And in your case, since the appellate authority has rejected or rather has not accepted, that may be one of the reasons for you to approach the High Court. That is also one of the reasons. So many things are there. Legally, you have to fight that. Okay. Right.
Sir.
Yeah.
Normally, in the first appellate stage, in addition to 16 2C cases, most of the cases are difference between 2A and 3B cases are lying in the first appellate authority, sir.
Okay. So all these cases will be gone, sir. No issue.
Because as you said, it is very difficult to get orders from the first appellate authority because one appellate authority is taking charge of 2 or 3 more stations. It is very difficult to get in time, sir.
Sir, what to do on that? See, the provision is very clear that there should not be any appeal. If we feel that still there is substance in going for the appeal or continuing with that appeal, we do not have any opportunity to this amnesty. That is the issue. If we are if the substantial amount is involved in that because of the 2A 3B difference, we may not be able to go for amnesty scheme because we are sure that we have that other conditions in our favor. That is 16 conditions. All these conditions are in our favor. Because there is no entry in 2A, you cannot reject or the officer cannot reject that. So it's a legal issue. If we want to continue with that legal issue again, we will have to go off this amnesty scheme. We will have to.
Sir, if you want to settle down the issue between 2A and 3B, we have to pay tax and get a waiver, interest and penalty in the amnesty.
Yes. That is judicious decision has to be specific decision, case to case decision has to be taken by the taxpayer, whether it is worth going for the amnesty or continuing with the 16(2)(c) cases, because unless and until we will be able to produce those certificates and explain the reason for this 2A 3B difference, no officer will be at the first appeal level or second appeal level. I don't know whether what will be the second appeal stage because 16 to this 2A 3B difference, not 16(2)(c), 2A 3B difference, so long as the entry is there, specific provision is there after 1/1/2022, because 2A is made mandatory after 1st January 2022. This can be specifically asked for, entry in 2A can be asked for. But before that, there was no specific requirement of this entry being available in GSTR number 2A or 2B for the purpose of getting that input tax credit. Even press release is also was there earlier press releases that this is only a what is that? They said it is only a worksheet for you to verify a reconciliation statement. 2A is only a reconciliation statement. So
Only facilitated.
it made it mandatory only from 1st January 2022 by incorporating AA in section 16.2. We are all are aware, but still the people are not having especially the tax officers, the adjudicating officers are having a blind eye against that situation. We can go on agitating, but that will continue. Decide whether it is for us to continue with the appeal or clear off once for all, if the amount, depending upon the amount involved in that. Okay. That is
Sir, one more clarification.
Yes.
As you said, SPL 06, they are rejecting means we can continue the appeal.
Yeah.
In that case, we already, in that case, at the time of filing SPL forms, we paid the tax. After rejecting the appeal, can we dispute the tax in the appeal stage? Again?
Yeah, sir. If they reject our application for amnesty scheme, then we will be placed back to pavilion.
Original.
It will be reinstated and we can continue with that our initial adjudication, that is appellate proceedings.
Even if we paid the tax in the amnesty scheme, it will not affect us.
It will not affect. It will not affect. Just not like any other amnesty scheme. In this case, it will not affect because only if we get a favorable order that is clearing all the issues there, that is completing that procedure, we will get a SPL 05. Otherwise, we will get SPL 07 rejecting. And if there is anything required to be that is accepted by the appellate authority, he will issue a 6. Then against that 7, we can go for appeal. If we are getting a 7, then automatically our original position will be reinstated and whatever amount paid will be treated as pre-deposit or something like that. Okay.
If appeal if amnesty scheme is rejected in SPL 07, whether we have to file SPL 06 before the first appellate authority?
No, not SPL 06, sir. SPL 06 is for something else, and these are forms pertaining to amnesty scheme. We will be given back the earlier position as such. So we can now automatically. The officer will give that. The officer will give that, and probably they may require because in 2 slides earlier I have said that SPL 08 something they are mentioning that that has to be filed or something. Yeah.
Sir.
Yes.
Sir, kindly explain that.
Which one? This one?
SPL 07 is rejected, how to continue the appeal again? That kindly please explain.
This one. That is, if the taxpayer files an undertaking in SPL 08 within 3 months, this slide. That is, if the appellate authority rejects that, again, he confirms that original appeal will be restored. If the taxpayer files undertaking in SPL 08 within 3 months of APL 04, so we have to file an undertaking. It will be restored.
Okay.
Sir, section 16.4 State Appellate Authority dismissed the order, sir.
16.4 Appellate Authority dismissed the order.
Order, sir.
Now you can...
Before amnesty scheme, sir.
Before amnesty scheme. Still, you have a chance. Yesterday, we have discussed that. 16.4 case we have discussed yesterday. What was the year pertaining to that 16.4 in your case?
17, 18, and 18, 19, sir.
17, 18, 18, 19, up to 2021. No issue. No 16.4. Now you can, you have to apply for a rectification order.
Sir.
With the same person. That rectification order yesterday we have discussed. To apply for that rectification order through the system, we have to rectify. He will rectify that because it is now in his favor. The law is now amended to give you all benefits under 16. 16.4
is it is better to first complete the presentation, sir.
Okay. Right, sir. Anyway, sir,
thank you, sir.
It is good for interaction now. It is okay.
Yeah, Sumanji.
Yes, sir.
Again, the issue arises like the order whoever they have raised, the same authority cannot go for a rectify before the specified period, no?
That is for the normal.
That act itself is not getting amended till now.
Sir, that section per se, that is 161. That is still that is still for the that is for the normal rectification apparent on the face of the records, apparent on the face of the order. But 160, this rectification is different from that one. This is specifically coming under 128A. So, but the fact is that there is no order, that particular order, no, that the state, yesterday I have said that CGST case, that order is populating there in that rectification application, CGST order. We can apply for that rectification. There is no issue on that. But in the state orders, they are not making it auto-populated to the taxpayer for applying against that order. So I have already raised a query there with our state government, state department. Probably it will come through. Maybe because of the system updation, it is good. Otherwise, there is no issue. We can apply for the rectification there. So that is 16 case. Now we are in 128. Even though 161 is not there, this rectification is possible. Okay. Right. The original appeal will be restored. That is there in that rule itself. Sir, the rule 164, it is specifically clearly mentioned that original appeal will be restored if the appellate authority also rejects our application for amnesty scheme, provided we may be required to file an undertaking under SPL 08 within 3 months of the APL 04. Okay, right. Where are we now? Okay, we are about to complete. No issue on that. Let me see what is the 16.4. 16.5 and 16.4, etc. Can opt for partial waiver of interest and penalty in certain cases of notices and litigate the others? No, because we have to pay off the tax fully as per the order or the notice. No question of any partial litigation and partial amnesty. Fully. 238 involves multiple issues, and one of them is regarding demand of erroneous refund. There we will have to face a bad consequence, uncomfortable consequence, that in the case of erroneous refund, we have to make payment of the erroneous refund. Then only we will be able to apply for the amnesty. Only thing that if different issues, multiple issues, one of those issues covered in the order or the notice is pertaining to an erroneous refund, no isolation of that erroneous refund case there. Erroneous refund anyway we will have to pay with the interest and penalty, and the benefit of 128 will be available only for the balance item. Okay, that also we have discussed earlier, but now it is coming up once again. If the notice involves multiple periods, bunching of periods, including with the period where 128A applies. It's a usual practice that bunching of notices are common. It's commonly, that is, the notice covers period from 2017-18 to 2021. Or rather, even it can go beyond that also in the case of notices issued against audit. Audit normally takes 5-year period, and even covering 21-22 also, the SCN, show cause notice, may be coming up, and we are actually objecting to the bunching of the notices at adjudication level and at appellate level. As a via media for that, what the department now does is that even though the notice is for a bunch of years, while making the DRC 07 order, they will make it year-wise. So they can now circumvent that this particular issue, bunching of notice, that is, they are now overcoming that. But many courts have said, and recently also, last year month also, there is a decision by the High Court that the taxpayer is entitled to certain benefits of time limitation in filing the appeals, etc., and in paying the tax, etc., based on or filing the return based on the annual return. Due to the show cause notice may be sometimes time barred. In order to, by the time of the elapsed time barred notices or time barred years, the department would have clubbed together more than 3 or 4 years. So out of that 5 years, 3 years time may be already elapsed. In such situations, the taxpayer is put at a detrimental position. So courts have interfered and said that bunching of notices is not allowed, is not allowable. They have to issue notices separately for each year because there are specific time limit for filing or issuing show cause notices with respect to the due date of the annual return. In one of the situations, if it so happens that we are facing this situation, that is multiple period is involved in this case, and we have to apply for this amnesty, we can do that. Only thing is that, what is the answer they are giving? Waiver applicable to the extent where 128A applies only. That means we can get the benefit for the that allowed periods. So what we will have to do then, for the other period, we have to make payment of the tax. It may not be possible. They only say, they clarify that waiver applicable to the extent where section 128A applies only. So if the bunching of show cause notice, we will be in a detrimental position. We will have to go to court, etc. Okay. So if the PO finds waiver acceptable, yeah, there is another via media that we apply for the amnesty scheme even if the notice covers period beyond the amnesty period, then they will rework. They can rework. The proper officer can rework if other things are acceptable to him. If the proper officer finds waiver acceptable for the eligible period, then he will reduce the liability in his order, SPL 05 order. So we have to pressurize him, or we have to substantiate him, we have to support him, giving all the details, etc. if it is called for through show cause notices, SEN, SPL 03, etc. He can reduce the liability pertaining to the eligible period. So remaining payment details will be provided in column number 19 and 20 of that particular SPL 05 order. Remaining amount to pay within 3 months from SPL 05, 06, etc. If not paid, waiver becomes void. So he will, what we have to do is, if in the case of bunching of show cause notices, it is very careful. The order will be for the SPL 05 order will be for the initial 3 years covered under the amnesty scheme. Then balance amount we will have to pay. Balance amount we will have to pay. That will be the situation. If you are not prepared to pay the balance amount, tax amount for the balance period or subsequent period, we will not get the benefit for the earlier one also. So bunching of show cause notices is a real issue. We'll have to further take it up. That is what I feel, because bunching of show cause notices, we will lose the opportunity to agitate for the subsequent period if we are opting for that 128A, though the officer will reduce or consider the amnesty period in his order. The balance amount will have to be paid. Balance amount may not be payable, or rather it is not required to be payable or required to be paid by us. Then we have to withdraw from that. Automatically it will become void. If we are not paying the balance amount within 3 months time, the order will become void. SPL 05 order will become void. That is what the clarity says. So this point, everybody must be very careful. If we are having multiple periods in a single order or a single notice, we have to be careful as to whether we will be getting that benefit or not. If you are able to split that order after the adjudication level, after the notice level, it is well and good, but mostly we may not be able to get that benefit. So bunching of notice is an issue in this case. We'll have to further rake it up. Okay. And we are just coming to the end of our presentation. Probably what is that, where the notice or the other order includes a demand of tax partially towards erroneous refund, that we have discussed already. Okay. Then beyond eligible period mentioned in the, okay, this is one we are discussing right now. The full amount of tax payable as mentioned in the notice or order has to be remitted before filing the application for waiver of interest and penalty. So that is a detrimental situation in the case of bunching or show cause containing period pertaining to amnesty of 3 years and beyond that. to be taken care separately. So whether the benefit of waiver of interest and penalty applicable in the cases where the interest has been demanded on account of delayed filing of returns. No, we have already discussed that. But something more is added there in the circular. They say that it can be directly recovered under subsection 12 of 75. So there need not have been an issue of or inclusion of a this item in the 73. They can very well, without issuing a show cause notice, recover under 79 by virtue of 75(12). So we have to, it is not covered in the scheme. That is what they say. It can be recovered under 75(12). Benefit waiver of interest and penalty will not be applicable in case of delayed filing of returns, not normal interest, delayed filing of returns. Okay, that is an important item. So benefit of waiver of interest and penalty for the covered under 28 will be allowed if the notice includes demand for periods beyond the specified financial years. Yes, this is one. Okay, that is also an issue. We have marked there. Something more is written in the clarification. Just go through those clarifications there in 238 circular. Does the entire tax amount specified in the notice order need to be paid in cases involving retrospective amendment of 16.5 and okay, we need to pay only the balance amount. After that, 16.5 and 16.6. Verification procedure is there. How to do, who will do that, things, etc. are there. Then, if the payment has been made through DRC 03, not through reducing the liability from the ledger, then there is an adjustment of the transfer of DRC 03 to the register, electronic liability register through DRC 03A under Rule 142(2A), which has been made effective last week in the system. So if we have erroneously, or rather we have paid the tax through DRC 03, instead of reducing the liability against that order in the system, maintain the electronic liability register, we can very well transfer that amount from DRC 03 to electronic liability register. From there, it will be reduced and through this DRC 03A procedure. That procedure is live right now. Okay. So before filing the amnesty, the above process has to be completed. That is also there in that circular. Okay. That's all about my presentation regarding this 128A. I have taken much time to explain this one, to discuss that one, because this particular requirement or particular amnesty scheme is very important for all of us. We have to be very careful in going through the sections, that is 128A, rule number 164 and circular number 238 before we actually attempt the application for amnesty scheme. Let me now just conclude this because time is also getting over. I am sharing. I'm just stopping the share. Okay, 1 second. Stop share. Now it is open time.
Is raising, sir.
Yeah, now it is open time for us to have a discussion for the rest of the time, if it is available. And at the outset, I have to thank each one of you for your interaction. Yeah, we will do that.
Ask your question.
Okay. Before that, sir, I have to thank all of them because the people may be leaving this session as soon as the presentation is over. So I am once again thanking each one of you for your listening and interactive approach to the session taken by us. Okay, and I am always thankful to the committee for giving this opportunity to interact with a lot of my people. Professional in the professional front. Thank you so much, sir. And we will take up the queries if something is there. Okay.
When Rajesh Bail is raising his hand.
Yes.
Sir, shall I?
Sure, sir.
Sir, I am Rajesh from Kollam.
Oh,
hello, sir. Actually, my doubt is,
yes,
in the year 2017, 18, 19, 20, the main issue was with regards to 2A and 3B mismatch. In the year, the GST Council has issued a circular in the 22 183, circular number 183.
Yes.
Actually, Sunil Kota is mentioned the issue here. My doubt is, sir, at that time, the order was issued by the assessing authority in the year maybe 20 or 21.
Yes.
At that time, the circular was not live.
Yeah.
Now the party has got the certificate from the supplier.
Right.
And the party has not filed any appeal. How this situation can be handled by the assessee? Only the issue is 2A 3B mismatch, and he has got the certificate for the entire amount.
I would say, sir, shall I come back?
Sure, sir.
Sure. So I would say it is an unfortunate situation. Only thing is that the first stage order is over. The first adjudication order, you got that appellate order also, no? Is it not?
No, he has not filed any appeal because the order was misplaced due to the COVID. At the time of COVID, that order was issued by the department and it was misplaced. And the party was unknown about the order.
Okay. So the thing is that adjudication order is there. Adjudication order confirmed the demand because we were not able to produce the certificate as required by Circular 183. Now, at that point of time, circular was also not there. Maybe he has, and had it been at appellate level, we could have produced that certificate at this point of time. Okay, that also we have lost. The only thing is that now we can, what to do? Even if there is one way out, is that system is not prohibiting you from filing an appeal. If you look at the system, that appeal is still you can file, even if it is 1 or 2 years old. Just try for that, sir.
Sorry.
Okay.
Can I interfere, sir?
One second, I will complete that. Then, if the system is permitting you to file an appeal, even if it is belatedly, a friend at the appellate commissioner, he will reject that order. Based on that rejection order, you can approach the High Court. That is one way. Secondly, if we have sufficient reasons to establish that the delay has not been purposely or it was inadvertently happened because of some other reasons, High Court, you can approach the High Court for this because you have a very genuine case in that. But then that only I will say. That is 180 circular. If it is 180 circular, the certificate is available, we can win the case. So unnecessarily, there will be a prejudicial impact upon you if it is not attended to the proper authority at appropriate level. High Court can, or rather, High Court will advise or remand it back to the concerned officer if you approach the. That is my faithful belief. I 100% believe that High Court will give you permission or to accept that appeal. Then necessary action will be taken. That's what I feel. Yes, sir. Ganesh, sir.
Yes, sir. This is the solution, sir.
Yes, yes.
You can approach the High Court under Article 226.
226.
You will get a remedy because you have certain certificates with you, but unfortunately you didn't file before the authority within the due date. But you have an opportunity to get the remedy.
Okay, sir. I added that to one thing, that if you directly go to the High Court, so there may be some situations. Anyway, something unnatural may happen. So for that only, what you can do is you file that appeal, get the rejection order, or rather you file that appeal, get the rejection order, then go to the appeal, maybe High Court. That is also.
There is one Supreme Court case law is clear, like until or unless the lower authorities are rejecting the orders, cannot go for the higher authorities.
That is what I said.
There's a reason better he can file it and appeal. Go for rejecting by the appellate authority and go for High Court.
Yes. Thanks, sir. That is it.
Thank you, Sunilji.
Yeah, that is a practical approach. Yeah, how are you, sir?
Sure. Sir, one more doubt. Is it possible to set off the demand of tax through the ITC credit ledger?
For the amnesty?
Amnesty, yeah.
Yes. That we are covered.
No need to pay by cash.
Need not, but if it is relating to RCM, that is 93, 94 or 95, and erroneous refund case, you have to pay out of the cash ledger. Otherwise, we can set off against the ITC. That is
Okay,
there.
okay,
That was there in
okay,
that
okay.
presentation. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, sure, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, thank
Okay.
you.
Keeping well. Bye. Okay.
Yeah.
Bye, sir. Okay. Yes, sir. Anything? Balakrishnan.
Balakrishnan? No.
Something. Yeah. It was an earlier case or right now? He is raising hand. Balakrishna. Okay. Yes, sir. Then if nothing is there, we can call it a day. Okay. Over to you, sir. Then thank you.
Yes, sir. This was a wonderful class because everyone very crystal clearly understood. That's why they are not asking anything, any queries. Okay.
100% Ganesh sir. It is
Yeah,
really a
yeah,
tremendous session you made actually.
yeah,
Your team. So
Thank you.
very, very fantastic. I have no words to express since 2 days I am observing.
yeah,
Is
yeah.
a way of explanation also very simple and superb where everybody can reach the same
Yeah.
and very tremendous. And I request Ganeshan sir to have one more session with Somalji very soon in different
Yes,
subjects.
he will
Look
also attending our national tax conference.
superb, super,
Sir,
super.
He
So
is
I
one
must.
of the panelists.
Yes, sir.
We are having a one session panel discussion in the national tax conference.
so you
That
are giving
6
bonus,
chartered
right?
accountants, the 6 advocates are there to
Yeah,
discuss these issues, the related issues. We will discuss in the
Kotaji,
seems like you are
panelist
giving
is
bonus.
Soman
Huh?
sir.
Yeah, you are giving bonus to us. Huh? Thank you.
Sunilji,
Sir,
I have to.
our class is Roman sir. Our class is South Indian. I can say, especially for South Indians. So your slang and language is very comfortable for us.
Acha,
Common
okay.
language, style is also that's common for that's for people like us.
Sir,
That's middle class.
the entire credit goes to people like you only because Fasaluddin sir, then Ganeshan sir, Vijayan sir has been after me for quite some time for taking a class
Sir.
in this session.
Sir.
But
Thank you,
I
sir.
was also wondering, I was telling them that what would be the language to be used because most of our people will be conversant with the local language. And when
Your language
station
is
people
very
are
much
there.
clear.
Okay.
We are from north there, but your
From
language
our national headquarters, they are asking your PPT.
Right, sir. Okay, thank you
Soman
so
sir.
much. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much.
National headquarters, they are asking your PPT.
We will share, sir, after the.
Received a message from headquarters.
Okay, okay. After the presentation in our the get together there, no, that is our seminar.
Okay.
Then after discussion, we will share that. Okay, I have also some other seminars here and there.
Okay.
After that, we will share. Okay, physical presentations there.
Okay.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
good.
Anyways,
Anything else? Anybody want to discuss any queries?
No queries, sir. That's the form. That SPL 766 is something different.
Yes.
We are much happy to hear about that thing, sir. Our government is thinking to solve the things, the problems in the order that the SPL itself through it's covered. Very, very fantastic.
Yes.
The class is very worthful for that.
I felt bad in amnesty scheme. The amnesty scheme is the persons who were already filed the return, but bilaterally filed the return and paid settle the tax through cash has to pay interest is pending. Now there is no remedy available in the amnesty scheme for belated returns, because the amnesty scheme itself telling that you can pay the tax up to 31st March 2025. This person is already paid the tax, but belatedly filed, and under section 47 he has already paid late fee also. This is the unfortunate case, sir.
Sir, that will be covered, no? So late fee we cannot set up.
No, late fee.
But the tax amount, even if he pays the tax through ITC, anytime before 31st March 2000, in your old case also it can be set.
Partially he has paid
we may
utilizing
adjust from
ITC and also cash.
Current year ITC we may adjust from
So
current
one thing,
ITC.
yes, sir, I am not able to get that. So that case is live right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that interest and penalty is demanded after that, or it is still agitating?
Yeah.
Okay, so tax amount he has already paid through ITC?
Cash.
Paid cash?
Yeah.
He has already settled.
Mm.
Nothing is pending regarding the due of tax.
Tax.
He is agitating only interest and penalty.
Belated return, sir. Yes, filed belatedly. Return was belated.
Okay. So belated return, interest and penalty will not be covered here. Yeah.
These are unfortunate things, but
okay. Belated, I thought it is belated return. Anyway, belated return, there is a logic in that, sir, because the government should get the money then at that point of time on the due date. We have belatedly filed the return and we have held back that input the tax amount due to the government. So for that period, it is an irrecoverable interest portion now for them. So they will be naturally recovering that amount.
But in other cases, the government is only have to get the fund up to on 31st March 2025 only. In this case, they have already received amount.
He should have paid the tax on the due date, but the due date he has violated. Due date for that period only, the government is demanding the interest. So there we have to think it in a different way. I think so. Anyway, it should be given. Okay, some concession.
Okay, sir. Any no other queries? Then we will
conclude that, sir. Okay, and thanks a lot once again to all of you.
Our past secretary, Advocate Fasaluddin, for proposed vote of thanks.
Yes, sir. Okay.
I'm too lucky to be in
live. Before, okay.
Yeah. Sir, you remember me in the Kollam programs, me and Rajesh. Okay,
yes.
Sir.
Right, thank you.
I have to thank you, especially for yourself, sir. I already explained that your language is very, that's easy to understand, and the way you used the slang and the language and everything, that's very easy to absorb, like as common people like that. So, anyway, thank you very much, sir. We'll meet in the 23rd also.
Yes.
LA. Okay, sir. And special thanks to our chief guest, sir. That's there was Nagesh Shankar Sabha, sir, and our General Secretary General Kakra sir also there, sir. Special thanks for their participating in this one. And all the credits go to our convener, our chairman, old chairman, Ganeshan sir, and everybody, Sunil Kota sir, Vijayan ji, and everybody attended that. Thanks to everybody. Thank you, everybody. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Good day.
Good night. Good night.
Thank you, sir. Good day to all of you. Good day. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night. Good night, sir. Good night.